Hello and welcome. Due to your recent actions, you've been placed in a Astro Pub in space. Welcome to the Astro Pub, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Berserker01 Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender here. I don't know why this isn't working properly. Am I in the wrong place? I am in the wrong place. Hold on. At the Astro Pub, your space bar at the end of the universe. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. We got a good one for you. How y'all doing? It's been a while. So I started a little earlier than I normally do, but this is in office hours. So the office hours is a live stream that I do on Thursdays, usually at 7 p.m. Central, so 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/TheAstroPub and youtube.com/TheAstroPubLive. You can join us at both cases, and usually leave the VOD open for YouTube if you miss it, because I know a lot of people like to listen to this in the background while I go over lore, news, and more. With that all being said, how y'all doing? Go through some of this real quick. We like the lower news, but what is the more? But it's the more we're here for. Yeah, for those of you who are unfamiliar with this, I will talk a lot about Star Citizen, about development, about gameplay, about the lore. I'll go into so many different things and talk about Star Citizen here, but the thing that we always end up going into is some tangent ass shit that has nothing to do with Star Citizen, or barely has anything to do with Star Citizen, that I talk about for like 45 minutes. Doing great. How are you doing, Astro? I'm doing okay. Getting back into the swing of it. Things I've got to need to get new shoes, and I need to start putting like moleskin on my feet because I've got blisters like crazy. But you know. Hey, Mega Weasel. This is a stabbing pain in my wallet. Oh, adding my 16-year-old to your auto insurance. Oof. It sucks. Boy or girl, Jin? Sometime in August. I have to go back to school like a week and a half before the students do, though, so it's around August. Congratulations, Mega Weasel. Oh, God, boy. Yeah, you're fucked.
You can take away my spaceship. You can take away my space
suit.
You can even take away my space lasers.
No pew-pews.
But you can never,
ever
take away my space game.
Dig Dug just resubscribed for 30 months. Thank you for keeping on the good work.
Thank you so much, 89 Dig Dug, for that 30 months. You're a very important pupper, very precipice, or very pedestrian. This is your fault. The reason I'm drinking tonight. Shots and cheers in chat, y'all. Shots and cheers. Just surviving as an arthritic in rainy weather? That sucks. His nickname since he was 2 has been Destructo the Kid. As a former 16-year-old male who had to pay his own insurance at that age, I feel for you. Yeah. I didn't get driver's like really start driving until I was 18. I didn't get my driver's license until I was 18. So. Hello, Astro and Chatters. How Star Citizen current stability? I played it for about 5 hours or 4 hours yesterday, and didn't have a single crash or anything else like that. So as far as I know, it's fine. But I just said that, so somebody somewhere got a message, you know, like they could feel the vibes and are about to post in the chat that they logged on to Star Citizen and Chris Roberts personally came through the screen and cut their nuts off and made them eat it. So later, Chris. How did you come up with that dance? I bet you're the life of the party. I am white, Rusty, so that's how I came up with the dance. There we go. He kicked my cat. There we go. As it's one of those realities where Star Citizen can be mostly fine for 90% of the 90% of people, but there's always somebody who has an awful experience, which is the worst experience they've ever had in a video game. And I'm not here to discount their feelings or their experiences, but no matter what, that's always going to be the case. PTU patch is sucking up all the crashes. Yeah. All right. So the reason why I got a little early today was because we're going to go do 2 monthly reports. That's right, 2 monthly reports. Because I missed last week because I was out on vacation. So I've got to get both of those done, recorded, and then, you know, that kind of sent out. Started playing on Pacific Drive and on the wait for 3.24, loving it so far. Pacific Drive is pretty good. I also want to keep everyone like make this very clear for everybody. 3.24 is not going to be a miracle patch. It is not going to improve your experiences from other patches. It is simply a patch that has new content in it that you might be looking forward to, but the same old things are still wrong with Star Citizen are still wrong with it. So. Oh, I thought you started early because you missed us. Kind of. All right. I'm toying with the idea of getting more caffeine, but I've already drank too much caffeine today. Drinking water right now. .4 is going to be fine, but it's not going to be the thing you hoped it's going to be. Whatever you thought 4.0 was going to be, it is not going to be the thing you thought it was going to be.
You can take away my spaceship.
I don't care what you thought it is. It's not that.
Space suit. You can even take away my space lasers.
No pew-pews.
But you can never,
ever
take away my space game.
Gifted Lunam, a membership. Luna Maria celebrates 9 months of membership. Hello Paul 07 YouTube, unsub me from your channel lol.
Thank you so much for that 9 months of membership there, Luna. You're a very important pub, very impressive, Mr. Very pedestrian. This is your fault. The reason I'm drinking that. Shots and cheers in chat, y'all. Shots and cheers. Well, I mean, like I typically have the equivalent of like 2 to 3 cups of coffee a day. I tend to try to keep it down to 3 maximum. But I also know that if I drink past a certain point, like 6 o'clock, I have to stay up for another 4 hours, and otherwise I'm done. I just want my cargo content. Now that I know that it's coming, it's hard to play the current live build because I'd rather be hauling. So let me give you all an example. What's going to happen with 3.24 is you're going to get your cargo hauling missions, but they're going to be as reliable as the current box missions. That's not a statement saying it is definitely going to happen, or that's what's going on 3.24. I haven't played through the 3.24 this today, so I don't know if that's the case or not. But I'm just saying, like, keep that in mind. If the cargo missions in 3.24 were as reliable as the current box missions, would you still play them? And it's as much of a payout. The answer is no. That's you have to assume something like that with 3.24 with all the new patches. And like with 4.0, it's going to be as stable as 3.18. That's probably going to be better than 3.18 in terms of like stability, because I don't think anything can be as bad as 3.18 was. And every major milestone patch has gotten better. The 3.18 it's in its own unique category of bad because it wasn't a blanket bad, it was just random bad. But you have to assume that. You just have to keep that in your mind when you're doing anything. And if that kills the hype for you, then, just chill, wait for it to get better. I think 4.0 will be close to 3.18 bad. I mean, it's a good mentality to have, because like the worst case scenario, it's exactly what you think. And then you aren't disappointed because it's what you're expecting. Best case scenario, better than you think, you're good. Just don't like bemoan and bitch and like it's like I've seen so many people who are like, server meshing's not coming out until 2028. Trust me, I know this, bro. And that's just people coping like way too hard in the wrong direction. It's like, if that's your actual thought, just keep it to yourself. like just don't say it, because like all you're doing is spreading misinformation and or like trying to get people pissed. It's not even like a better to be a disappointed pessimist. I don't think it's necessarily pessimism. It's just making sure that your reality is in line with what has happened. Because like, let's just sit here and be very honest. How is CIG's track record for major technological additions to the game? It's not good. Every single time CIG has made a major technological addition to the game, it has fundamentally broken the game in such a way that the game was barely playable. 2.0 wasn't playable. 3.0 wasn't playable. 3.18 wasn't playable. How the fuck are we who here is going to sit here and go, oh, but 4.0 is going to be different? We have no fucking indication that's the case. However, 3.19 was pretty good. 3.20 was even better. 3.19 still had problems, but 3.20 was really, really good. This is the time to move fast and break shit, though. Better now than later when things should be more stable. Exactly. It's just look at the reality of the situation, set your expectations accordingly, and move on. The one problem I have with that sort of mentality, though, is that some people will take it to the extreme levels. Like CIG blew past a lot of dates early on in the development, and so people are just like, okay, so add 2 years to everything, and they still have that mindset. It's like everything's gonna be 2 years difference. but CIG has shortened that gap. So like when CIG says something, it can be anywhere from, you know, a month late to like 3 patches late, two to 3 patches. So like 9 months, which isn't bad. It still sucks. It's still bad in the sense of like you should say something, you only say stuff when you're done, but you know, that's not how the world we live in, and that's not how Star Citizen functions, because if you just told people, hey, it's going to be out here, people would be completely bitching about the whole fact that CIG isn't talking about their development. CIG either talks about development and everyone gets mad when they may make mistakes, or they don't talk about development and everyone gets mad that they're not being open. I totally agree. Move fast and break things. I think they should scale back the 4.0 feature set and have it just be 3.24 features with pyro meshing added to with a bunch of new features. Well, that's the thing. It's like, I think one of the big things with 4.0 is that it's pretty clear that the management at CIG wants 4.0 out before CitizenCon, because they want CitizenCon to be about 1.0. It's a marketing decision. It's a decision, PR decision. Might be a morale decision where like they just have to like set like a goal. Because one of the things that's happened in the past is CIG will just continue to just slog on with something, and someone will work for the company for 4 years and find a better opportunity and leave. And when they leave, they lose a shit ton of institutional knowledge about how something functions in the game. So a lot of the stuff that needs to get constantly redone in Star Citizen is because the person who built that thing or the team that built that thing, many of them may not even work for CIG anymore. Like, I don't know if the person who originally built the first star map still works at CIG. I'm sure they do, but like maybe mining, like the people who first created the mining modules, how many of them are still working for CIG? I don't know how many. We've seen this with the ship teams. It's like the reason why the Banu Merchantman gets delayed is because all the people who were building the Banu Merchantman and were setting everything up, they left, and so they're going to have to restart it again from the beginning because they're not going to pick it up in the middle. And so this is a tinfoil hat theory, no basis, just based off of some discussions with CIG staff in terms of how the retention works, which generally speaking is good, and it's gotten better. But the discussions I've had with CIG staff was emphasis on it's gotten better. And it's like, what do you mean it's gotten better? It was bad. Not because like CIG is necessarily a bad place to work for. As far as I know, everyone I've talked to, even former CIG developers, say, yeah, it's great. I loved it. And it's such a uniform, it's great. I love it that I don't think it's like a, you know, NDA. I can't say the bad thing stuff, but, what was I going to say? But like CIG has very talented people who can get jobs in lots of places that they are needed. But it may be that if CIG sets a 1.0 release date, then there may be developers who are thinking about jumping ship who are going to go, I'm not going to jump ship. Because if I've got 2 years left on this project to get a 1.0, I can add it to my CV. I can add it to my resume so that I can leave after that. And that's a powerful motivator, because saying you worked on Star Citizen when it released at 1.0 will likely get you a job. Not because Star Citizen is necessarily the best game ever, but Star Citizen has a reputation of being incredibly complicated and ambitious for what they're trying to do with what they have. So doing anything in Star Citizen will probably equate to a decent job anywhere that you can find a job. Yeah, Jen, who was in the industry, says, yep, having launch projects on your resume is a very big deal. Yeah. And I know that that's one of the reasons that, you know, X and I and several other content creators have commented as to why some people might leave CIG, because they're not having a completed project that's released on their CV.
can take away my spaceship.
Paul, off-topic question. Near the last office hours, you were like, "Oh yeah, I have big news, but I can't talk about it yet." What's the news? I've waited 2 weeks.
But you can never.
The answer is, the news fell
Take
through.
away my space game.
As far as I know. That's why I didn't want to like talk about it, because it's like it's not a sure thing. I was excited about it, but they haven't gotten back to me, so it's not a thing.
Wild Wallace Prime just resubscribed for 25 months. Hello there, Pub Pipe.
Thank you so much, Wild Wallace, for that 25 months of support. You're a very important pub. We're very impressed with very pedestrian. This is your fault. You're drinking at shots and cheers in chat, y'all. Shots and cheers. Okay. Yeah. That's why I didn't want to talk about it, because it wasn't a done deal. They can't compete pay-wise with major developers. I mean, after Squadron 42, I think they can. But the other thing is just up until recently, people have been fucking going nuts. Like people will hire people like crazy for every project because the industry was booming. And then in the last 2 years, the video game industry has effectively crashed because of how many like jobs they've gotten rid of. No one in the gaming industry is paid well in comparison, but even CIG pays kind of on the average to mediocre in pay. What they make up for it is they generally have a pretty good benefits package. They have a really good time off. There's lots of time off that CIG employees get. They have a lot more freedom. There's a lot more kind of like flexibility. There's a lot of at least there used to be a lot of internal hiring, so like a lot of growth, like where you know, come in as a QA, and if you want to do, you know, level design or programming or whatever, they'll shift you over there. So they don't do mandatory crunch time, no, but they do pay overtime if you want to do crunch time. There's always options for it. Hey, Bob, what's up? We're gonna be doing some more stuff. We're just kind of talking about stuff. Smoking like someone who works for CIG. No, so this is an old joke for those of you who are newer here, but I've been around for a very long time. I've been streaming for almost a decade now. And as a result, a lot of the people who used to be regulars on my channel ended up working for CIG. So I know a lot of folks who work for CIG. Not because I like, you know, was like, oh, this person might work for CIG, I'm gonna be friends with them. It just, they were fans who ended up applying and then working for CIG, including Jake, who was been on the captain's table before, kind of stuff. So, you know, hanging out with Jake or talking with, you know, anybody at CIG, either at events or just so happen every so often I'll run into them, or I'll be like, hey, let's go hang out or something like that. I'll bring up something like, you know, how's work? Everything's doing okay with, you know, like balance and stuff like that. Talk about like a normal human being would talk to somebody, and you get these little insights here and there. And that's basically what I've heard, is that they don't pay great, but they almost always offer overtime. And they have really good time off. I've heard of people who like straight up legitimately had like, I don't want to say like mental breakdowns, but effectively mental breakdowns, had like everything in their life turn awful for them and had to take leave. And they ended up leaving CIG and then coming back to CIG pretty quickly, like within months afterwards, keeping their position open, keeping them ready to go, which is, you know, a great way of, you know, keeping people on board and that sort of thing. They do want to, and there's that. They have entire staff members, like entire departments dedicated to just making sure that CIG employees are doing well. Like, do they need pizza? Do they need coffee? Do they need, you know, a celebration for somebody? Something happens. If someone, you know, I don't know if this is necessarily the case, but the way it sounded like was like, say, hey, somebody has a kid, they'll like, you know, send a gift package to the mother with like little fun trinkets and stuff like that, you know, and check up on them, that kind of stuff. So yeah, life happens and CIG realizes it. Yeah, which goes a long way. So like, even if you're not getting paid the most money you could ever get paid, having that sort of flexibility is kind of worth it. You know, like, would I take a pay raise or more time off? I'd take more time off. Pay raise is fine, but like, I mean, obviously, I'm a teacher, so I don't get paid anything. But, you know, I think a lot of people would take time off rather than necessarily a pay raise if it meant that you could enjoy yourself more and still get paid the same. Would you like to work at CIG on creating lore, history, and content for Star Citizen? I'd love to, but I don't think CIG... I honestly don't think CIG would be interested in hiring with me or working with me, because they seem to... Because I've applied for CIG for several positions multiple times, and they always like to keep me at a bit of an arm's distance. I know at one point I found out that I was considered a risk by CIG management. They thought I was a risky person, that I might be possibly too negative with a project, which is hilarious. But, and I've also heard rumors where I've applied for jobs and people at CIG said, do we want him to work for us? Because like, he already does all these other things, that if he does these things for us now as a creator, he couldn't do them as an employee, and he's more valuable as a creator than he's an employee. Which is, you know, great. Then fucking pay me. Exactly. Why buy the cow when you get the milk for free? Well, I mean, the thing is that a lot of people will say, will say things like, you know, oh, well, CIG pays content creators to promote the game. It's like, no, they do give us stuff. They give us ships to give away, which is a form of payment. It definitely has some monetary value, but like, let me pull up the last thing they gave me. I think so. I may still have it. I don't know if I do or not. So last thing they gave me to give away was... I think I already gave it away. So the one before that was the Invictus 2954 giveaway, which had a Saber Firebird and... a game package with lifetime insurance. So how much was the Firebird? Let me look it up real quick. $185. So, you know, that's typically what they'll give me. On the high end, they'll give me something like $180 ship, which is good. But that's not necessarily always the case. Sometimes I get like a $50 package, because I'll get, like, say they have like they had an Ursa and an NPU VT combo package that they gave us to give away. It's like, that's great. I think that's like a total of maybe $100. So it's not bad, but it's not spendy money cash. It's hey, give this giveaway and you can use it however you want to. And if I was to like quote for a promotion for, say War Thunder or Factor or any kind of company would come to ask, say, hey, we want you to do an ad plug for like a video. That's about what I do, about $200 to $250. So it's definitely under the rate that I normally would charge for promotions, but it's not bad. But at the same time, it's not money and you can't spend it. So that's the most that CIG does in terms of like giving content creators content stuff. They don't pay us shit. And it's not even like, hey, you have to say nice things about us. Here's this thing, but you have to give us nice things. If they just say, hey, here's your shit. Here's shit. You can use it as you want to. You can give it away. You can use it. It's up to you. And yeah, like they generally don't have any strings attached for it. CG marketing, and for the large companies marketing, necessitates a level of spin that might challenge your more direct and honest approach to promoting content. They may hire you for lore. They won't hire me for lore. I bet bigger ships benefit more than just a ship giveaway because some of them shill pretty heavy duty. I know a lot of those folks, and as far as I know, they do not pay larger people any more money. I've heard that rumor a lot, and CIG doesn't, which is good and bad because I think honestly, CIG could easily work with content creators to do cool things because there's plenty of content creators. Like here's a great example: Fat Shark, when they were releasing Dark Tide, and Alcat, when they were releasing Rogue Trader, reached out to Luton, who is a lore content creator for Warhammer, and they gave them exclusive access to some of the backstories and lore and history that were going for those games so that Luton could make videos to promote them. They paid Luton to do that, which is smart because he's promoting the game while still doing his content. And that's and giving Luton exclusive content you couldn't find other places. And there are plenty of companies that do that with people where like they pay them, they give them early access to a product, and they say, please do a video and review it for us so that you can, you know, you can have this information out there earlier. But by law, if the content creators don't like say these things, then they're, you know, don't I know secret stuff about Squadron 42? That's because of absolute, it's because of leaks, Oscar. So back in 2016, there was an accidental leak which had all of the files for both Squadron 42 and Star Citizen released. And I happened to be looking into some of those files for an audio file to use for these audio emotes that I have, the little audio play stuff you can do, redemptions. The problem is that CIG doesn't just like label the audio files like mission 1 audio or whatever. It's all just numbers. So by going through the numbered audio files to try to find it, I eventually just stumbled upon the actual audio of Squadron 42. And after a while looking for this other file, I basically knew the entire story of Squadron. So that wasn't CIG being like, hey buddy, here you go. It was me screwing up and looking for something else and accidentally spoiling myself. Same, Luton, who used to do Arma videos. Yeah. Battlefield, I think is what he did, yeah. Benefiting more? I mean, the dark side, which you just implied, and I'll read it off for you, was bigger channels benefit more than just a ship giveaway because some of them shill heavy duty. You're implying that they're getting something beyond just ship giveaways, which, again, there's no indication. I would love for bigger channels to benefit more with like exclusive information that they can release through their channels because, you know, they can get the word out to the wider community that CIG can't reach, or to give that a nice little, hey, here you go, buddy, you're really good, we like your content, here you go, we're gonna give you this exclusive content, and it can only be found on your channel for a little bit so that people knows what it is. And yeah, if having an assumption is one thing, but that's a huge accusation, because if they're benefiting in some way beyond just ship giveaways and they're not disclosing that, that's illegal. Because you also have to report that on your taxes. Well, there's definitely some implications in there, Dark Side, but whatever you say. Because you're still implying that they benefit more than just ship giveaways, but you're just leaving it ambiguous. Yeah, but I didn't know a leak that big happened. All right, don't take this the wrong way. It was known in the community as the Lando leak. What happened was Lando posted something on social media or on ISC or something like that, which had a partial URL in it. And that partial URL was it was like an Arena Commander preview, or Star Marine preview before Star Marine came out. And that partial URL allowed for players to guess the rest, and they found out that it was a link to the entire branch, all of the game files for Star Citizen, and it wasn't password protected. All you needed was the link to the URL, and you could get it. It was like an AWS thing. Yeah, it was bad. It wasn't Lando's fault. It was whoever, security, who was supposed to be doing, that sort of security. Yeah, it was bad. And there was a lot, like those files are everywhere. Like I know people who have those files. Before they could lock it down, it got everywhere. So, and it wasn't even the only one. There have been files like that leaked like a lot at CIG early on. When's the next big ship event? IAE, which is in November. When's 3.24 coming out? When it's ready. It's in Evocati. Foundation Festival will have a small ship and earnable points, earnable paints. I mean, those aren't ship events though. They're like every event is ship. There's a sale going on for Jump Town. Like they always do that. Founders Festival is coming up soon. Foundation Festival. Was there any additions with the Whitley's Guide on the Vulcan? I gave it a speed read. Nothing stood out. No, there's nothing that's changed. I will go with this though. Okay. Here we go. So, now time for a section of the show that I like to call the bottom of the barrel. Scraping the bottom of the barrel. This is where I take the absolute dumbest brain takes at the Star Citizen community comes up with, which are absolutely hilarious, and I always like to highlight them because it's fun sometimes, especially when content drought. But here we go. Get your tinfoil hats on. So, the Vulcan, the Whitley's Guide Vulcan lore Whitley's Guide lore article was released this week, which is a reprint from one in Jump Point. And people read it and said, well, Jared said they only talk about things when they're working on them. And does this count as talking about them? So they're working on the Vulcan. Also, they mentioned something about early Vulcans not having drones, and only military ones have the drones. So does that mean that we're not getting drones on the Vulcan? So CIG is totally 100% confirming that they're not putting drones on the Vulcan. Yeah. I'm dumber for having listened to this. Thanks, Paul. What a heartbreaking statement. It's not true, Arch. It's such a stupid fucking take. You just came in. Okay, so I do a section called that someone suggested I call scraping the bottom of the barrel, and where I take like some of the most conspiratorial hot takes from the Star Citizen community, and I found that one. It was just like, are you fucking what? Are you fucking serious? There is nothing that CIG is implying about an article that was published in 2019 that wasn't changed from its article on Jump Point to release. Distracted? I'm just checking something out. My wife was sending me something. All right, I'm going to use the restroom real quickly and I'll be right back. Did I play Evo today? No, I didn't. I'm halfway through Blue Gender. It's awesome. I told you it was good. We're running the entire Galactopedia right now. Yeah, just get a brush up now. My wife was sending me something. All right, one back.
Weapons free, y'all. Good news, everyone.
I'm flying.
Drugs.
I'm pilot.
2 words. Distress bacon.
I love democracy.
Hello. I like money.
I'm just an old-fashioned cowboy.
To democracy.
I love democracy.
All right.
Weapons free, y'all.
We're going to watch ISC. Let's see. There was one thing that I saw earlier. No, Mark Flat. That was a conspiracy theory that was floated by a misreading of the lore video. Lore article. What is the most awaited system among players that is coming to Star Citizen in the future? Like Star System? Pyro. That's just because people want it to get out. I don't think many people know about any of the other systems. There's only probably a niche of people who even know anything beyond Pyro, Nyx, Terra, and like maybe Odin and Earth. Hey, have you ever had someone tell you that you have the blood pressure of a dead person? I have. I was concerned. Okay. No, I have not. I have the last physical I did. Like I'm fine, overweight, but fine. Thank you, Oscar. And Minstrel. All right.
The upcoming Alpha 324 has a variety of life in the verse changing aspects, including the personal persistent hangars, freight elevators, and the next step forward in physicalized inventory. But with these changes come a new era in cargo specific mission content. Different than the commodity runs you might be used to, we spoke in depth about this in our recent Making Missions 2 episode of Star Citizen Live, which you should check out if you haven't already. Your Nick did great. And on this week's ISC, they're joined by Elliot and yet another Nick to show you these new cargo missions and reintroduce us to the long-mentioned Blockade Runner global event.
Okay.
So how many of these do you think you've done at this point?
Videos for you, I don't know, over 20.
You still like doing them?
Yeah.
This is the third one, so I guess I've done 2 before this.
This will be my second.
What was your first one?
Also Blockade Runner.
This your first one?
Uh-huh.
You nervous? Tiny bit. They gotten easier or harder?
Easier. When I first started, I was focused too much on the camera, and that was making me think too much.
When there's a camera pointed at you, it's still a little bit different than just speaking to people, but...
I've tried to look at you or thought that the camera was someone. It made it easier because it felt like I was just talking to someone.
It's not easy doing this, y'all. To be able to talk naturally to a camera, like I'm looking at a camera right now, because the key is if you look directly at the camera, you look weird. But if you look above the camera, just beyond the camera, it can look better. And setting your camera angles up so it looks like you're talking to people and relating to people as if like you're actually talking to someone, it's not natural. You have to practice to do it. I'm lucky that I took a lot of theater in college, so I kind of have a little bit of that background. I'm not an actor, but you know, I'm a little bit more comfortable with being stared at by people.
Instead of looking at a machine, trying to be perfect.
So you stop trying to be perfect.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm just like, yeah.
That should have been easy for you.
Unsafe transit in this sector has been resolved. Civilians are advised to avoid engaging in space travel.
Blockade Runner is an event that focuses on cargo hauling and space combat.
The inhabitants of a station ask for aid. The bad guys have blockaded one of these stations, and the citizens there need help to get certain supplies from outside to go back in.
The idea with it is that you would have someone who flies a cargo ship and loads up full of cargo, and then have a bunch of escort ships that help fight them. However, the way they now have to get the cargo means they have to actually go and extract it from pirates who have taken it from the station.
We wanted to make a cargo-based event because a lot of our current events are really heavy on combat. And
hold on.
A lot of our current events are really heavy on
extract it from pirates who have taken it from the station.
We wanted to make a cargo-based event because a lot of our current events are really heavy on combat.
It's still heavy on combat. This is just Xenothreat without the Idrises. The fuck? It's still a combat mission. It's just a Xenothreat mission, but with like. Now you have to be the pirate and board the ship and take it.
And cargo's been kind of underutilized on the global event scene, and we thought
it's literally the two of the three events are cargo. Jumptown, you have to load up cargo, and like the first half of Xenothreat is cargo. Oh, don't get mad at him. Don't get mad at him, but just like...
Thought it would be fun to work that into our usual design.
The response we saw from Xenothreat, when we first put Xenothreat out, we really liked when we saw players working together in kind of like a Dunkirk type moment where one person had pulled up, just opened the ramp, a couple of people had cleared the wreck already, and then they're all just throwing cargo into the back of someone's ship. They don't know this person. They've not talked to them, but everyone understands their role in this space they've created. And there's people who are flying above, sort of also protecting against the waves of Ninetales that were coming to the wreck. And it was just this beautiful mix of people who just all kind of knew exactly what role they fit into and asked no questions and just got the job done. We wanted to recreate that feeling in its own event.
To be fair, Elliot, we did ask questions like, what do you want us to load in? Because that's a more stable one, yeah.
So the flow of Blockade Runner is when you start the mission, you will receive marker points of potential sites where a pirate could be that has stolen cargo from the station that's requesting its return.
Okay.
A hostile enemy force has attacked one of the LEOs throughout Stanton, and they've stolen a great deal of Zeta Promenide from it. This Zeta Promenide's been shipped out, it's being carried away, and the remainder of the enemy force has stayed behind, surrounding the LEO in a blockade. It's up to players of the verse to chase down these enemy ships that contain the stolen material, defeat them in combat, reclaim the material.
Either via the use of distortion weapons to make sure you get every piece of cargo that's on board the ship, or via killing it and maybe getting less, but you run less of the risk of dying yourself.
Once they do recover the stolen material from the ships scattered throughout space, they'll have to make their way past the blockade and return it to the LEO.
There will be ships flying around that you have to actually disable while trying to land, or else you could lose all of your cargo.
Either way, their goal is to land safely at the LEO with the stolen material on. And once they have that, they get to use our fancy new cargo elevator mechanic to return the stolen cargo to the station.
The reward for blockade is based off of participation. There will be, similar to Xenothreat, there'll be a bar that fills up with contribution, and every time that bar kind of ticks over, you'll get a payment, and then you'll get a big chunk at the end when all of the SCU amount of cargo has been retrieved back to the station. So to get all of the cargo, I'd recommend using distortion weapons and boarding the ship. This way you can ensure that you get everything out of the cargo hold, whereas if you do it the other way, you know, you go from this 100% sort of loot to maybe 30%. There's going to be a big difference to encourage a different type of gameplay that players aren't really used to playing in our game.
I think a lot of the game loops in our game are a bit drawn out, and I like to think that you can get into the action pretty quick with this, and it's a relatively tight game loop, all things considering. I hope people will be able to jump in and out of it as they see fit and have a good time.
That's pretty good. I mean, it seems like a tighter version of Xenothreat, which is good. And it's a more repeatable version. A lot of the events what CIG seems to be doing is trying to make them more generic so they can plop them in anywhere. Like you could do a jump town anywhere in the Star Citizen universe, and it should work fine. You can do one of these in any part of the Star Citizen universe, but like Xenothreat is very bespoke. It's only in Stanton and requires a bunch of like audio logs and triggering events. Same with like Siege of Orison. And there's a place for those as well, but like the more generic the easier it is to copy. So it looks like they're playing with the mission modules that they built, which is nice.
In addition to Blockade Runner, we're also adding a bunch of hauling missions that also utilize the freight elevator.
Didn't they heavily nerf distortion weapons? Yes, but what they did with nerfing distortion weapons was make it so they don't destroy your components.
And instance hangers we're going to get.
With the introduction of freight elevators, we can now make missions that we were never able to make before.
Up until now, we haven't really had any missions which allow you to use your cargo grid. You won't have to go to various different parts of a station or find a ground station to get your land vehicle. You'll be able to get everything you need for your trip organized in one place.
Now, I can just go to my hangar and there's an ASOP terminal in there and I can watch my ship go down and come up and I can have all my boxes out. The ability it gives me to build the missions that I love is insane.
So for me as an economy designer, freight elevators means that I can reward players.
Is that Silicon? Maybe.
For new game loops and different types of activity that they haven't been able to fully play before, such as loading and unloading your cargo, figuring out logistics, and actually allowing players to monetize that effort and get a suitable reward for it. So the more time and effort that it takes to use the freight elevators and do the hauling missions effectively, the more opportunities I have as an economy designer to find the appropriate rewards for players for that game loop. And I don't want to see any Reddit threads on the rewards for these missions, because at the time of filming, we're still weeks away.
That means the numbers you see in this episode aren't the real numbers. Don't go to Reddit. Give this guy a break. They'll be real by the time the thing comes out.
They'll still be bad. I have zero trust that they have a full understanding of how the economy needs to be balanced. Not because they're not capable of doing so, but because we always fuck them up. They always underestimate players.
You might be thinking, well, we've been moving boxes for a few years now. Those delivery missions already exist. What makes cargo hauling missions so special? Well, in cargo hauling missions, we're actually allowing you to move real commodity containers with real value through the verse. You're not stuck with 1 SCU boxes. If you're asked to move 400 SCU, those will actually be intelligently packed by the system into different container sizes, which means you'll be able to load them up on your cargo grids for your cargo ships the way you've always wanted to organize them.
These missions will handle high volume of cargo. These missions are built for people who are going to own a caterpillar, people who are going to own a Hull C. These are mimicking a logistical framework that's going to be needed in, you know, a system, a universe this big to transport the goods to and from different locations.
Let me give you some examples. You find a mission where a few different outposts on the surface of Hurston have mined some iron, and you've got to bring it up to Lorville, where then it can be transported further from there. So you go to each of these outposts, you land at that location, and there, in the warehouse of that outpost, those containers will be waiting for you where you can call it up through the freight elevator. You load it up into your ship, and then you figure out what the next location is, and the next location, and the next location. And you can basically do those in any order you like.
You'll have single pickup, single drop-off, so this could be picking up from the LEOs around ArtCorp, the Lagrange points, for example, and taking it to Area 18 or to Beijing Point, the station above. Then you'll have a multi-pickup and a singular drop-off. And then the opposite of that, which is singular pickup to multi-drop-off, could be the complete opposite, where you go from a Hurston DC to 2 other outposts delivering goods. It also lets us do a first static setup of what is being called StarSim, where we can test out the flow and then actually make the dynamic side of it work, where we can balance it based off of the needs and wants of the actual locations.
The work that I was involved with missions with Yorit was to use the EVR algorithm that I created to make sure that all of the effort that you put in has a commensurate reward. EVR stands for effort versus reward. The EVR algorithm is a general balancing algorithm we've developed that takes into account the time and the difficulty of what you're doing, and it gives you a reward that is appropriate for that. So if you do something that takes a long time, but isn't very difficult, or if you do something that takes a short time but is very difficult, you're going to get appropriately rewarded. So obviously, this kind of thing, effort and reward, isn't a new concept. It's been around since the beginning of computer games. But as the economy team moves forwards and we work on all of the exciting new features that are coming out, we're really happy to be able to bring this kind of coherent approach to the entire game economy.
All right. I'm going to translate that to you. And I want everyone to be calm and chill and stay seated, because what I'm about to say is going to be upsetting. It is going to get worse. The economy is going to be attuned to the degree that you will not be making a ton of money per mission or even commodity trading. They want you to get low amount of money. They do not want you to be earning, 100,000 credits an hour. They want you to be earning, up end, running an C2, an M2, a whole C. They want that to be earning like 20K an hour. It's StarSim is what the quantum system used to be. That's what that's its name now. Yeah. For those who don't know what StarSim is, it's what the quantum system originally was, which is it's a better name. It's still the quantum system, it's just been renamed. But yeah, no, it's so like I hesitate to use the word grind, but effectively they're going to up the grind. You are not going to be able to earn a fuck ton of money very quickly doing anything. So if you're like, oh, well, I could make a ton of money doing mining. No, you can't. Oh, I could make a ton of money doing salvaging. No, you can't. They are going to slow your progress way down. No, they want pirates to make millions. they want pirates to make millions, but they want it to be incredibly dangerous for pirates to get to that point. And also with reputation, they want to make it so that pirates can't be functional in Stanton. You're going to have to go to Pyro. Now, a lot of this stuff, because Pyro isn't in the game yet, a lot of this stuff is going to be longer term for that. Hey, Tree, how you doing? What is Star's community if not carrying their pitchforks and torches at all times? Well, it's one of those things where you can conceptually understand that progress is going to slow down in terms of like your individual progress for earning money and stuff like that. But when you actually experience the slowdown, it's going to feel like a punch in the gut. It's going to feel like, oh, wow. So I have to like work 4 times as hard to get the same game. Same thing I want before. I don't like that. My line not go up as fast. I scared now, kind of thing. Hey, I got your message earlier, Tree Santa. I'll talk to you about it. Because yeah, I think you do that. By that logic, it's looking like 3,250 hours to grind for an 890 jump. I wouldn't be okay. I wouldn't be surprised with that. Because an 890 jump is also not a ship that you're going to be, it's going to be easy to acquire because they want the large ships to require multiple people to run them. So having multiple people pool their money together to do that. And of course there will be some ways of making a ton of money, but those ways that you make a ton of money are going to be incredibly dangerous or incentivized for specific things. Most games, depending on cash sales, usually throttle game progression. It makes sense. I don't think that's really what CIG is trying to do, though. I think what CIG is mostly focusing on, because this is something they've said way back when they originally said that they were going to stop selling ships when the Star Citizen hits 1.0, which they're not going to, but they still haven't said that yet. So we wait for them to backtrack hard on that, but it's not yet. That might be a CitizenCon thing. We'll see. But I think the issue is more balancing it out in terms of like how quickly do you reach endgame? Because that's a problem with MMOs in general, is that people reach endgame super fast in most MMOs. And you want players to not just play the game, you want them to play the game for a long time. You want them to really invest time and effort into the game. It's the reason why a lot of open world games, like say like Starfield, it's like 100 hours to beat Starfield. Like the main quest of Starfield is like 40 hours, or I remember seeing it be like 100 hours. It's really high. And a lot of games like, Final Fantasy games require, 40 plus hours. It's all about trying to increase the amount of time players play. And they don't want to put a ton of money and effort into building things to only just have players just skip through them because they want to reach end game. So yeah. Oh, that's fine, Wagon Place. I knew you were going to disagree in some way, but that's how it is. I understand your concept. I understand the idea, but that usually when you want to slow down progression with to incentivize pay, there's usually a pay to skip function with those sorts of gameplay. Like say it's like a mobile game. Like, oh yeah, you can't play. You've reached your amount of hours you can play, but you can pay for this premium currency and get more. But like, I don't see CIG selling like unique equipment, right? Like unique like jump drives or something like that. I don't think they're going to sit there and be like, oh well, yeah, you can buy this class, this top of the line jump drive for $50 that you can add to your ship. That's not something they've mentioned that they want to do. In fact, if anything, they've hinted more that they want that to be reputation gated. So not only will you have a grind for the money, but you'll have a grind for the reputation. So you have to work for a specific location and stuff like that. So, I don't think that's the direction that they're going. Could be wrong, but yeah. Buying a ship with cash is paying to script the grind for ships. Not really, though, Luna. Because think about it like Elite, right? Elite Dangerous, in order to have a ship that's end game ship, you have to go through the engineering section, and that's a grind. Like even now, you could purchase a top of the line or whatever you want ship for Elite, or I don't know if that's the case right now, but I know it's the idea that they were talking about. Like you could buy an Anaconda, right? But if you could buy an Anaconda with actual cash, that doesn't mean the Anaconda is suddenly good. It still requires like grinding out a bunch of other stuff like that. And I think that's the direction that CIG is going more towards. Less of a buy for power, pay for this, F8C, and more of a, yeah, you can buy the F8C, but all the things that make the F8C good is behind all of these other grind reps. So Anaconda can take up to a week to get engineered to a full spec. Yeah. I think that seems to be the direction they're heading towards. They already sell UEC. I think to get mid-game should take about two-ish weeks, that they can get a multi-cruise experience and make it large cap ships for those multi-week, like 2 months of the game time, depending. Yeah. As long as they fix the deal with explorers quicker, making less money won't be that much of an issue. All right, let's go back to the presentation. Basically, what I was trying to say is this is the direction they're going, and as Luna pointed out, that's the thing that people are going to say. Oh, they're doing this so that they can sell more ships, because that'll always be the case. But
Drinks all around.
Let's party like it's your birthday. Party like it's your birthday.
not yet, Luna. That's what I'm saying.
Celine Star Drago just got a sub from Anonymous. An anonymous user gifted a tier 1 sub to Celine Star Dragon.
Thank you so much for the gifting that Anon for gifting that sub to Celine. You're both very important pubbers, very impressive business, very new pedestrians. You rock. Shots and cheers and chat, y'all. Shots and cheers. But yeah, Star Citizen doesn't have anything like Elite's engineering yet. But that's my point. Hiding things behind reputation gates is similar to that, where you have to work with certain groups and get a high enough reputation, and that might cost you money and that sort of things. These are all things that CIG has proposed. Because, to be honest, to be very real, everything I just said is entirely speculation. It's all based off of what CIG has discussed, not necessarily something that's 100% going to happen. But this is the direction they're going, in the sense of they're going to make it harder for you to get things in game. But yeah. Hey, Ram.
In the end, cargo hauling missions aren't about how good you are at shooting the bad guys. It's about figuring out which hulls the universe needs. And ultimately, it's about having fun delivering some boxes. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Space Truck Simulator.
So what did we learn this week? Well, hopefully that the cargo missions aim to provide a more involved and deliberate experience than the commodity ones you might be used to. That the blockade runner will benefit from boarding tactics more than simply just blowing things up. And that while your everyday life in the verse certainly changes in Alpha 324, it will continue to evolve in the subsequent 4.0 and beyond. And if you'd like to learn even more about these cargo missions, you can tune in to tomorrow's Star Citizen Live, where the team will talk even more about the stuff you saw here. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the people and process of game development with you. And we'll see you all here next week.
That's good. Still a little one, but, you know, still good. Fortunate space truck, but also loading and unloading. Yeah. Greetings from the Big Island. Hi, Paul. Seem to have missed this, so I'll get back and watch the broadcast myself. Please continue having an excellent day. We started a little early, that's all. Because I wanted to get time so I could do the monthly reports. Space Longshoreman. I realized they make changes that grind gets longer, etc. Only when they stop the resetting of our AUEC and reputation. Otherwise, you grind for 2 months and then next January they reset all of it again and grind for 2 months nothing. I think they're going to reset it at 4.0. It's just that's a logical place to reset a lot of it, and then they'll probably reset it once a year. I'm beach camping, just got back from my 3rd swim of the day. I didn't really miss anything, my friend. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, it looks good. Like with the shit I was giving them about being not a combat mission, it's still a combat mission. The blockade runners, it's more variety. It's a mission that's more focused on the fun parts of Xenothreat, which is cargo acquire and transport with some combat, which is nice. Do you think even after 1.0 we'll get a wipe once a year? No. Once 1.0 comes out, I don't think CIG is going to wipe anymore. They might still wipe, but I doubt it'll be frequent, which is always a risk. But I'm looking forward to cargo missions. Though last night I was told that they removed the terminals from drug labs. So though there was somebody in chat who claimed to know a dev and messaged them and being like, "Hey, did you know that the terminals are like you can't buy drugs from drug labs anymore?" And they responded back with just a ... which could be anything. My personal belief is that CHE just forgot they existed outside of Jumpdown. Will we ever be able to build a home base? Yes, that is something that they announced last year. They were going to begin development on this year. I only hope they make the grind longer when there is actually a reason to grind. Like, let us have fun. Yeah. Oh, I gotta check there was a patch notes. I'm not seeing anything like that. See, it's just like Edward Hopper's reaction to being asked about his seminal painting, Nighthawks, about why there's no customer door at the diner. It's like, oh shit, I forgot it again. No, it's fine, Streisand. I actually looked it up just to see if it was something's in there. But yeah, no, I honestly believe that CIG just forgot that smuggling is a thing. That's the easiest answer. The more complicated answer, which is probably not the case, is CIG removed it because they didn't think it was representative of the final gameplay loop, and they wanted to remove the gameplay loop until they had scanning and stealth gameplay in, and with more contact in there so that they can bring it back in. But that assumes that CIG remembered that smuggling is a gameplay loop, which they don't, and hardly ever do, because they don't consider illegal trading to be smuggling, even though it's something I would like to do. And apparently it's any place that didn't have a landing pad got the terminals removed. I was saying as you signed off last night, based off things I've heard from EVA members, they deem they're deemed to be a problem where the back end can't get back. It can get backlogged with hangar requests, so players can't get out of their hangars. Okay, yeah. If you go into thinking about progression, don't. Yes, play to play, and don't worry about money. It makes it more fun for me. After they stop wiping, you can change your mindset. Yeah. And apparently, any place that didn't have landing pad got terminals removed. Okay, yeah. Hey, Lugathan. Will they delete your AUEC and in-game bot ships in 4.0? Almost certainly, yes. They have not confirmed that at all, and they probably won't until like right before 4.0 releases. But I would work under that assumption. Is there a mission reward for smuggler missions? There's no smuggler missions. Yes, if you smugglers stopped smuggling, you wouldn't have to be scanned. No, I meant the smuggler event. You mean not the smuggler event. You're talking about the blockade runner event. Jeremiah Bond is what you're talking about. Example, NBIS has only 6 small hangars, and if too many people are trying to spawn and leave in small ships, there's a queue. Okay. Yes, if you smugglers stop smuggling, you wouldn't have to be scanned. I mean, I'd love to be scanned, but you know. There is no trade of illegal contraband in UE, citizen. Why did you ask such a thing? 142 monthly report. Ooh, that's fancy. I'm gonna go get some stay awake juice because I think I'm gonna need it. All right, be right back, chat.
Weapons free, y'all.
I love democracy.
Good news, everyone.
Drugs.
I'm fly. I'm pilot.
Barcelona! Barcelona!
Two words. Distress bacon.
Everybody and his dog calls himself an outlaw.
I'm out.
I'm fly. I'm pilot.
Drugs.
Distress bacon.
I love democracy.
To democracy!
All right.
Good news, everyone!
They make meth from in juice form? They do. I'm projecting Star Wars. So Jeremiah, we don't know what the rewards are going to be other than monetary, but they said there's going to be something else. I don't know what it is though. All right. Make sure I have everything set up properly. All right. So what we're going to do is a capsule. For those of you who haven't seen my capsules before, I am not going to be responding to chat a lot. I'm mostly going to be looking at the camera and talking to the camera because this is going to be a pre-recorded section that I'm going to put up as its own standalone video after the fact. But I'm gonna try a little something different. The capsule thing works, but I think I'm gonna try to evolve a little bit as a content creator. And rather than doing the typical like hello and welcome, that kind of stuff, I'm gonna do the more subtle approach that some content creators do. So yeah, this is gonna be a little bit more off the cuff. Experiment chat. All right, it's time for us to do our monthly report read through. This is going to be a little capsule. Trying to do a little bit different before. So this is going a pre-recorded section of, not pre-recorded. It's recorded as part of my live stream that we do on Thursdays. But we're going to be looking at the PU monthly report for June 2024. And yeah, generally, if you like these sort of content, this is just like kind of a small segment rather than the big whole video, the whole live stream that I've done. Make sure you check us out on Thursdays at twitch.tv/TheAstroPub and youtube.com/TheAstroPubLive. Love to see you come on up here. All right. With that all being said, let's look at the PU monthly report for June 2024. All right. Oop, hit the wrong button. All right. AI features. June saw AI features improving the behaviors of grouped NPCs for a more consistent combat experience. To do this, they added an object representing the group that shares perception information about targets at the appropriate time. This allows for the designers to tailor combat experiences to a specific demands of the mission by deciding who is and who isn't drawn into combat when it starts. It also allows them to cheat a behavior for situations where communication between group members would be expected. For example, via radio, preventing NPCs from doing via radio, preventing NPCs from doing a full first reaction when they would already know about this fight. This is the first implementation of the system, and the team will be playtesting and balancing it to make sure it presents a realistic but understandable challenge. Without the behavior, perception and entering combat would be more haphazard and do not work well across the wide range of levels and mission scenarios. For this, I wouldn't be surprised if this is also Squadron 42 monthly report section, so this may be a combo of both of them. That's a new title. AI Game Intelligence Development Tools. Okay. June saw the creation of a new team within the AI group, Game Intelligence Development Tools, GIDT. Git. The Git crew. One of the team's objectives is to force on evaluating and improving tools and processes. For example, they're currently working with AI tech to improve the Apollo subsumption editor with improved UX. Following a successful prototype, the team are currently implementing some of the features directly in engine. This new visualized paradigm, known as the Apollo Star Script. Oh my God. Jared is probably rubbing his temples furiously right now. Star Script. Star everything. Other improvements include new tool that enables the devs to group and ungroup task functions automatically, allowing them to easily add components and visualize them when collapsed or expanded. Another upcoming objective is to implement different service solutions for long-term AI functionalities, including the quantum simulation, the battle system, and commentator model. Game gets. AI tech. June saw AI tech optimizing parts of the vision system used by NPCs, which involved moving parts of NPC's visibility check computation to the client. This will help when there are multiple players in the same server, giving improvements to reaction time and frame rate. They're also investigating better ways to synchronize AI between servers and clients in preparation for server meshing, which will allow for smoother transitions by keeping the same context when NPCs move from one server to another. As a test, they serialized more data into AI components, like path and movement requests. On the ship AI side, functionality was added to point defense cannons that allow them to track and shoot missiles. Improvements were also made to NPCs following leaders in formation by using PID controller for match leader speed and adjusting role based on leader and NPC ship orientation. Alongside this, the AI tools team began unifying functionality and fixed bugs in preparation for the Apollo UI redesign. For those who don't know about the Apollo UI is what CIG does internally for their AI tools. It's an internal tool to help them with subsumption, like how they make subsumption AI and such. So it's sort of like a tool for CIG, not for us. It doesn't actually impact the game as much as it impacts development of the game. Animation. The animation team continued to fix technical issues with the Copian, animate assets, and create new animations for numerous creatures. Ooh. Art characters. In June, the character art team progressed with 3 specialist armors, finalized the update to utility armor, and supported a request for the character customizer. Art det for looting items was worked on too. Character concept art team continued exploring designs for utility armors, and completed handoff sheets for specialist armors, while the hair team kicked off new beards and hairstyles. Art ships. Last month, the ship's team progressed with the RSI Polaris, getting close to finalizing the interior for Greybox review. The exterior is heading towards final content with the parallax occlusion mapping, POM, and lighting being completed. The Zeus Mark II is also approaching its final content review. 7 unannounced vehicles were worked on too. 4 are approaching white box stage review, which are probably 4.0 and beyond vehicles. 2 are heading towards gray box review, and the last is nearly completed. Almost certainly that last one is likely going to be the new Saber variant that they've been teasing. That's just probably coming out in 3.24. But everything else, gray box review would be 2 ships for 4.0, and then the white boxes post 4.0, like 4.1 or around Invictus, that kind of thing. Maybe still 4.0, but. Community team kicked off the month of May's PU with May's PU monthly report alongside Drake Ironclad Q&A. The team then supported Alien Week, which was followed by the return of Xenothreat. A new player guide was published alongside 2 contests: Show Us Your Colors and Super Galactic Xenothreat Smackdown. Winners of the Show Us Your Colors competition 2024. Yeah, nice. The community is currently preparing for Alpha 3.24 release, as well as an upcoming Foundation Festival and Ship Showdown events. The Bar Citizen World Tour continued with team members visiting local events to meet with the community and share a new loot. including the new Huya puzzle. Hey, you can see I am over here somewhere, I think. It was in the back. It's a bad angle. The team also spent time with a vibrant community in Asia, where we recently had the pleasure of attending 2 unforgettable events. First, our team traveled to Taipei for an incredibly immersive Bar Citizen. The decor was awesome. There, we were treated to a handful of excellent presentations, including a live demonstration and tutorial by morphologists, racing tournaments that had all of us on the edge of our seats and screaming at the top of our lungs, and even some lively sing-alongs of pirate shanties courtesy of Drake Interplanetary. Then, last Saturday, we had the privilege of connecting our community to Shenzhen, China, at their largest gathering yet, over 2,000 attendees. We participated in a lively Q&A session, enjoyed a variety of tournaments, giveaways, cosplays, and much more. Events like these, especially on the opposite side of the globe, serve as a powerful reminder that the diversity and global reach of our community. What's most inspiring is that our shared passion for the universe we are building transcends all language and cultural barriers. Whether you're from Shenzhen, France, Antarctica, you never know, or anywhere else on the planet, a Bar Citizen event always feels like a home among like-minded pilots. We're kicking off another year of Bar Citizen events around the globe. As always, you all show up in spades. It is wonderful meeting each one of you, hosting trivia challenges, enjoying good drinks, and great company. We can't wait to see you again in upcoming events during PAX, TwitchCon, Gamescom, and more. So if you're nearby, come on down and get your hands on exclusive Huya. We also like to say thank you for everyone supporting the development of Star Citizen and our recent updates, tech preview, and other PTU tests. We are committed to delivering world-class game for world-class community, and your feedback is instrumentally important to us. Community team. That is very large. Like the Chris Roberts head over here. The community team continued dealing with weekly publishers of This Week in Star Citizen and updated Arena Commander schedule. With CitizenCon 2954 less than 4 months away, the team is working hard to deliver the most packed and exciting event to date. The CitizenCon cosplay contest is also back, with the team planning to share more details closer to the event. Core gameplay. For Maelstrom, okay, big one. Maelstrom, the development stream was recently published to the main internal branch. This provides a fresh set of features, such as new unified mesh format grid with OC support per Maelstrom node for large vehicle destruction. It also provides tools to link gameplay events with destruction sequences, such as shatter, break, and integrity changes. The unified mesh format brings numerous improvements to Vulkan pipeline and internal code coverage alongside a flexible pipeline to bake supplementary data required for Maelstrom destruction. The ability to link internal Maelstrom sequences to game logic advances the dev's ability to easily build complex destruction sequences. Further development will bring Maelstrom destruction entities past the existing legacy destruction and harden the existing pipeline. That's basically what they're saying, is that Maelstrom is being brought up to current standards of destruction. So they're swapping over all of the current destruction, or the setting up the current ship's destruction modes to Maelstrom rather than the old system they have. Was recently published to the main internal branch. I don't know if that means they're done. They could mean that they're done. They may be done, like it's already in, but now it's just more about finding the edge cases and other kind of stuff like that. You must speak in Texan. Okay. All right, Evan. Following the full task breakdown, implementation of the Transit Refactor began. This included setting up basic components for the entity classes for destinations, gateways, and gateway peripherals. A new debug GUI transportation network visualizer was created to assist the initial setup to inform design and setups of each transport network. The transit engineers also continue to support the upcoming Alpha 3.24 release. Subtle, but you know. Maelstrom sooner than we thought, I hope. I think it's still a ways away, but you know, the Transit Refactor, the one thing that's important is basically with the Transit Refactor, They need to make it so that it works for 4.0 because it currently doesn't work very well. Ooh, this is another big one. Radar and so we've got Maelstrom is in game and are in the main branch, and radar and scanning are working. For radar and scanning, work was completed to allow FPS ping to be used in certain seats. The first being vehicles that lack their own radar. Alongside this, the team resolved several issues when using an FPS radar within a vehicle zone to detect things outside. Work continued to highlight the highlight effect which caused by FPS ping, with the devs now able to apply different colors for different factors such as hostility. Several other parameters were added to highlight the effect to allow the fine-tuning of visuals, including fade, timeout, occlusions, fill, and outline. Radar and scanning. So, like, FPS ping is in. Okay. Y'all can still hear me, right? No, I was just saying that they can't hear me. Hopefully you can. I'm going to keep going. Support began for new vehicle brackets, including nameplate and distance, and parameters were added to control. So support began for new vehicle brackets, including nameplate and distance, and parameters were added to control when and how they should show in different states, such as targeted and pinned. The removal of scanner operator mode started too, which will be replaced with ADS scanning. ADS scanning, it's new. Okay. That's the new system. So that's the new scanning system, which I'm assuming is going to be linked with radar and like FPS ping. I think they're going to be the same idea. But that's new. That's the first time I've heard of ADS scanning. This is why you read the monthly reports, because we'll probably hear about ADS scanning in the next month, where CIG will start talking about what this is, because this is clearly the thing that they're doing post 4.0. It may make 4.0, but that's another discussion. I don't think a lot of the stuff that's currently in the 4.0 release is going to make it in 4.0. It's going to make it in 4.0.1, or they'll just do what they did with 3.24 and just call it 4.1. The team submitted the framework for a system that will allow design to begin tagging which scan producers' specific radars run. For example, medical scanners may see health information, while police scanners can detect contraband. An improvement was made to the radar system, allowing for faster scan speeds while maintaining performance. Support continued for radar with the room query system that allows for occlusion of people behind locked doors. Finally, for radar and scanning, a new mechanic was implemented, delta signatures. This mechanic has vehicles emit signatures when certain actions are performed, such as a ping activation, the activation of quantum boost, and the changing of master modes. UI to notify players when they detect a delta signature was implemented too. Okay. I don't think ADS stands for aim down sight scanning. I don't think that's what it means. No, because okay, for those of you who are saying this is FPS scanning, it says specifically the removal of scan operator mode started too, which will be replaced with ADS scanning. So what that means is that they're removing scanner operator mode, which is currently in ships, and they're replacing it with ADS scanning. And before anyone says, oh, well, that's just a fancy word for FPS scanning, they say FPS ping in the one above. So this is specifically ship scanning. It's not, we don't know what ADS is, but it doesn't stand for aim down sight. Another damn scan, advanced dynamic scanning. It has some name. Probably advanced dynamic scanning or something like that. All the scanning. At last, the scans. So it sounds like they're doing a little bit more work. It also sounds like it's stuff that's already being done for Squadron. Some of this stuff is already being implemented for Squadron, and they're bringing it over because they mentioned things like quantum boost and changing of master modes. We don't have quantum boost in game yet, so. The Arena Commander team focused on the new front-end style, the FPS Horde mode, and back-end support. The implementation of the front-end restyle is nearly complete, with the majority now utilizing the new style and art direction. Several features requests were sent to service teams after review, including a way to query game module and mode population, and additional information for friends lists such as the game mode and map. So they're completely overhauling the UI again for Arena Commander? For the FPS Horde mode, the team implemented the subsumption mission alongside a way to define spawn wave data. Design will soon begin reviewing the map and marking it up for AI ahead of the spawn closet, engineers becoming available post Alpha 3.24. A playtest was conducted on EVA-only map, Gundo. Due to limitations with the location causing balance concerns, this map will not be released and will instead be used for rapid in-situ developer iteration of the EVA system. Finally, the team began improving how badges are defined in game code. This is due to limitations of systems as more teams utilize it. Improvements include giving designers more control over badges and their information by moving what was previously hard-coded to DataForge, as well as adding several quality of life improvement for developers. Badges, what is that? Economy. The economy team progressed with tasks for Pyro, including setting up the shops and sorting out any related issues. They also continued implementing the effort versus reward algorithm so that the mission rewards are balanced according to the risk and time invested by the player. Support was provided for the coming changes to cargo and cargo missions too. As mentioned in last month's report, the team worked to rebalance prices for the entire sets of items, including vehicle components, power plants, coolers, shields, quantum drives, weapons, etc., FPS weapon attachments, ammunition, consumables, and commodities. We did a couple weeks ago, we looked at the idea that a torpedo burrito, is more expensive than a 30-round mag of P4 ammo. And it shouldn't be like that. So we did real-life comparisons of a Taco Bell burrito and generic, 30-round, AR-15, magazine and the ammo it would be cost to put in there. And yeah, the magazine and the ammo for the AR-15 costs more money than even at even the priciest burrito from Taco Bell. And I think it was even more expensive than a Chipotle burrito. So, that gives you the concept of like, generally speaking, you're going to have cheaper food than you are going to have other things because everyone needs food, but not everyone in the Star Citizen universe is going to need guns, even though players are. So you want to have that kind of balanced properly. So it looks like that's what they're doing, which is nice. The team's ongoing work involves a new economy for quantum and hydrogen fuel to ensure that refilling isn't a chore while maintaining the narrative feel of a large universe with unique economies spread across different star systems. They're also creating player profiles to better understand how different careers gain and use resources. Okay. Badges like the 2943 Aggressor Badge. That's what I was thinking, was maybe like the badges you get for specific actions, like the little achievement stuff. I don't think you can add them in Arena Commander now. It sounded like that's something that just, they already do that, but maybe they don't. That would be neat, so that instead of getting a forum badge, you get a badge on your account for Arena Commander, but I'm also a proponent of having Arena Commander be free to play. So graphics, VFX programming, and planet tech. Last month, the stability, performance, and memory usage of Vulkan continued to improve and is now much closer to being the default choice for Star Citizen. The team have also been in contact with AMD, NVIDIA, and Intel to diagnosing fix various driver issues. Global Illumination team worked across a variety of areas. For example, they improved Radiant's cache resolution, made stability improvements, and optimized various areas with Fidelity FX. They also provided rough specular support, improved motion and depth complexity handling for the screen space light cache, and updated the cascade light grid to allow for a greater range of global illumination. Gas cloud color processing volumes were added to allow the artists to vary the appearance of large gas clouds as players traverse them. The team also made the first pass at hooking up required VFX to jump points alongside a new shader for the tunnel and bespoke lighting and shadowing solution for ships inside it. Support for fire hazards continued, which involved adding directionality to the generalized burn and dirt shader effects for entities. This allows for localized burning, such as one on one side of a door. Visual improvements were also added to creatures, such as the ability to spawn decals from GPU particles. A new managed entity region system was designed and entered development. The goal of this is to manage a life form of many procedurally spawned entities, such as creatures and mineable rocks. This is critical to the introduction of persistent entities, server recovery, and server meshing, as these systems require very strict and careful management of entity lifetimes. GPU terrain generation was implemented as a stepping stone for the team's plans to fully GPU generate virtualized terrain, which will be utilized with Planetech V5. Call me a conspiracy theorist, but I think that means that they're trying to go towards terrain deformation. That seems what that sounds like, because it says GPU terrain generation was implemented as a stepping stone to the team's plan to fully GPU generated visualized terrain. They're moving stuff off of the processor, the CPU, and putting it into a GPU is, I'm guessing, for performance purposes, and maybe for it to look good. But that feels like something they do for like more terrain deformation. But I could be wrong on that one. I'm not an expert on that. That's just more of a gut feeling, having reread a lot of this stuff. Finally, an efficient query mechanism is being designed and added to planets. This will be used by the new location scatter tool, which will help populate planets for Star Citizen 1.0. Hey, a 1.0 reference. In-game branding. The in-game branding team made significant progress across various projects throughout June, including new navigational signage for Pyro and graffiti for Ruin Station. They also started work on a new location alongside the landing zone team. What? They also started work on a new location alongside the landing zone team. What new location? A new landing zone? It can't be Ruin Station, because Ruin Station should have already been in. Or it's just going to be one of the stations that we have already in Pyro, but just named Ruin Station. What new location would they be building? For those of you who may not get this, like, Nyx is likely going to be the next one, but Nyx's landing zone already exists. It's called Levski on Delamar. It's been in game before, but they removed it because of the expansion of Stanton. That's the first mention, even close to, of a whole new star system. Unless it's reference to Ruin, which it could be, because Seiji hasn't mentioned Ruin explicitly in the past. So, Interactables. June saw Interactables team finishing off liquid containers, which will be used for the upcoming Blockade Runner missions. Hazardous containers were worked on too, with the team taking all sizes to final following the destructibility tests. Pretty nice. Lighting. The lighting team focused on work for Alpha 4.0, including tasks for the new acidic cave archetype, pyro station modules, and outpost locations. They're currently dialing in the atmosphere for all of Pyro's planets and moons to give each a unique look and feel. Locations. The landing zone team spent part of the month fixing bugs for cargo alongside adding a variety of modules available for Pyro's stations. Alongside this, the organics team progressed with asset creation for new biomes that will go on new planets in the future. They also closed out acidic cave archetypes. The landing zone team isn't talking about anything about a new place, but the in-game branding is, which is weird. Narrative. One of the Narratives team's bigger focuses in June was their continued support of the upcoming cargo gameplay, which included writing new mission text. The team also dedicated time towards Star Citizen 1.0, diving deeper into new content that the patch will bring. Part of this will fall into the Narrative design, who further expanded their presence of social AI in the universe. Additionally, Narrative began building out the lore and mission text for a future large-scale event mission. They also provided the branding team with several company bios that will be used to flesh out the style guides. This month also saw another edition of Loremakers Community Questions go live. So be sure to check it out and then add your own question to the Narrative team Ask a Dev Spectrum page for a chance to have your questions answered next time. Narrative team. The team also published a fresh batch of Galactopedia entries alongside the story of Banu divestment in honor of Alien Week, which I believe is about the fall of a Suli. Online technology. In June, the online services team worked towards completing the social services backend overhaul. This will boost the performance and scalability of social functions, including chat, friends, and groups, and will enable the service to support a higher volume of concurrent users and requests. Additionally, it will simplify the integration of new features. For example, making things like creating and joining a party from within Spectrum web portal possible. That may sound weird, but CIG wants to have Spectrum be connected to the game in all ways, so that you will be able to access Spectrum even from inside the game. So like the way we currently have chat is going to be removed and replaced with Spectrum chat. You can access your org's Spectrum, unique Spectrum like forums through your through the game. And of course, on the website, anything you do on Spectrum will be seen in game as well. So you can even do things like add friends and like send out a friend request or that will be accepted, but also like have them join your party. So someone can join your party while in Spectrum, but not in game. They even want to run, I think they run the VoIP through Spectrum as well. So like everything is supposed to be through Spectrum because it's the in-game version of the internet. I mean, and most of it in-game web browsers. Yeah, but CIG wants to make it an in-game, in-fiction web service. Apps to do ship loadout, etc. from in-game too, if I remember correctly. I think it was something they talked about possibly doing, but we know for sure that they wanted to do a lot of the social functions to be both through Spectrum and through the game, but have them be connected together specifically. The team also integrated a new version of Easy Anti-Cheat and will soon begin testing for false positives, as well as testing the boot check feature on a limited sample size. Furthermore, the team progressed with potential features for Alpha 4.0. This included significant overhauls to the mission and marker systems, as well as the development of the player trade functionality, which will align with the overarching objective of achieving server meshing. We're going to get player trading, baby. I guess 4.0, at least the underlining stuff is going to be coming in there. Woohoo. Spectrum is the internet in lore, right, Astro Pub? Yes. It is kind of a combination of cable and the internet. Like there are broadcasts which are done through Spectrum on specific channels, but then there's also like internet access. It's not really fleshed out well enough in terms of directly. It's sort of in fiction. It's sort of the internet and live cable television all wrapped up in one. The network team continued to work towards the first version of server meshing. This included testing various configurations for the mesh and underlying cloud infrastructure, while capturing critical performance information to help fine-tune and target bottlenecks. I'm surprised they haven't done any more configuration testing. I'd expected them to do a little bit more, because they did a configuration testing like right before I left for my vacation last week. in like in June. I think I think we'll still see a couple more, but it may be that CIG has decided that the last configuration was what they're going to use, but who knows? Tech art animation. The technical animation team continued to invest in a wide range of long-term tasks, facilitating improvements across both projects. For example, the work progressed on Put On Take Off initiative, which is close to completion. These animations will soon be integrated into the game and will significantly enhance the realism of character interactions and provide a more engaging player experience. So that's where like they're going to have some canned animations or some versions of canned animations where if you're taking off something, the character's going to go and pull it off, or like to put it back on, you know, do my Chris Roberts impression. So for Star Citizen and Squadron. So, these animations will soon be integrated into the game and will significantly enhance the realism of character interactions and provide a more engaging player experience. Several creatures for Alpha 4.0 were finalized too. We know we're getting the Kazi Grazer, the space cow, but it sounds like we're getting multiples, which is nice. Please, blind Oni crab. Please, blind Oni crab. Daddy wants the blind Oni crab. Daddy wants his poopy Zeppelins, his poopy Hindenburgs, his tiny poopy Hindenburgs. Enhancements were also made for Character Customizer, including the successful integration of new heads. This enhancement will offer players more variety and customization options, further enriching personalization. Our ongoing collaboration with SST and cinematics departments remains strong. The focus on ensuring the technical implementation of animations and scene content is of the highest quality is unwavering. This synergy is crucial in maintaining the seamless integration of animations and ensuring a top-tier visual experience for our audience. The enhancements of the technical animation team in this past month are a testament to their hard work and dedication. As we move forward, we're confident that we will continue to reach new heights and deliver exceptional content for our players. Tech animation team. And lastly, VFX. Last month, VFX team supported teams on deliverables planned for Alpha 3.24 and 4.0, including the Zeus Mark II. VFX also supported locations on new biome archetypes, including acidic caves, alongside new modules for Pyro. Finally, VFX progressed with tasks for several upcoming features such as fire hazards and the resource network and Pyro. All right, so in summary, a lot of work is on Pyro. Zeus and Polaris are clipping along. They're going in there. There's a lot of interesting stuff mentioned here that we haven't seen in the past, like player trade system, which is being put in there. The hint of a new landing zone. Branding is working with the landing zone team on a new location, which implies a new landing zone at least. Acidic caves. So we're getting acid caves in 4.0. We're also getting better Vulcan overall. The economy is getting overhauled. Arena Commander is getting a new front end as long as it was a horde mode. We have the first mention of radar and scanning overhaul, including ADS scanning. Maelstrom was added to the main branch. And then AI, or the animation and art teams working on a bunch of new stuff, but like animations and stuff. The AI is adding a lot more detail, a new way that FPS AI is going to be grouped together, changes to kind of like dialing some things in terms of reactions, times, and such. And a lot of it is just preparing for 4.0. A lot of stuff is we need to get this working for server meshing and so on and so forth. So it's solid. I think this is we have a good idea, at least from this, because for those of you who don't know, generally speaking, if CIG is working on something, if you see it show up on, say, like a progress tracker or a monthly report, give it 6 to 9 months for it to its first implementation in game. It can always take longer because sometimes it's like R&D stuff, so that if it's an R&D stuff, it can take years. But if you start seeing the implementation of features in the game, it's typically at this point 6 to 9 months for it to be added. So if we're starting to see it now in June, this was in June, then they're likely shooting for both the first versions of Maelstrom and the first versions of scanning to be implemented at the end of this year. So, knowing CIG, likely not going to make the end of this year, but probably Q1 of 2024, which does track with how they've had everything set up so far. And these are things we will see at CitizenCon. I think we'll hear a little bit about it before then, but I almost certainly will see the first demonstration of the new scanning system and further implementation of Maelstrom at CitizenCon itself. Plus, there's like 7 new ships coming out. There's a lot of cool stuff from this. It was pretty beefy. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out with us live. Like I like to say, if you enjoyed this, if you enjoyed the video, we do this live at twitch.tv/TheAstroPub, youtube.com/TheAstroPubLive. Make sure you like the video, subscribe for more content, and hit the bell icon to be notified when these release and when I go live. And lastly, if I want to hear your thoughts, I want you to tell me, do you think I am just screaming hopium about this like landing zone thing? Do you think I'm right? Do you have even more crazy ideas? Let me know in the comments below. And like I always say, hope to see you someday in the black. Look into my eyes. Hey, for science, how you doing? Trip on some acid in caves and speak to the solar flares. Not that kind of acid, Rob, but... Star stare. I think I'm the first person who's caught the CIG's working on a new landing zone. Still waiting on the horde mode. Please, DJ button, save Star Citizen. Yeah, DJ is definitely talked about that horde mode. It's just like, yes, daddy. Could be just a POI. It's weird that the landing zone team would be attached though, Jen. Like, that is the thing that's in the back of my head that's sort of like nibbling at me, which is like, this isn't a landing zone. This is just a unique POI, which is why they're working with the landing zone team. But it's not being done by the sandbox teams. It's done by a landing zone team, which makes me go, why would you have the landing zone team work on something that's not a landing zone? That seems like a waste of resources. It still could be the case. It could just be having a team that's working on something that's not that like they've changed the name of the team or the scope of the team, but they haven't put the name properly. CIG's horrible at naming things. But Town and Pyro, we already have Towns and Pyro. A distro couldn't be an LZ. Distribution centers aren't considered landing zones, no. Because you can't like buy ships or equipment or sell, you can sell some goods, but like you don't have the full gamut. In my variety of thumbnails, one of them is definitely going to be CIG secretly reveals a new new landing zone. A secret base for the Rebellion of Hurston. If I was a betting man and it was a 100% going to be a landing zone, I would say it's Ruin Station, because CIG has not specifically mentioned working on Ruin Station in the past. They've been mentioning the space stations of Pyro, but not specifically Ruin. There's plenty of space to add more, and there's lots of habs there. VFX also supported locations on new biome archetypes, including new acidic caves alongside new modules for Pyro. Looks tied to sand caves. I'll show you again where it comes from. It's from the economy team, or no, branding team.
You can take away my spaceship.
Right here.
Take away my space suit.
Why would you need branding for acidic caves?
You can never, ever take away my space game.
Veritas just resubscribed for 4 months.
Thank you so much there, Veritas, for that Twitch Prime sub for 4 months. You're a very important pub, a very impressive piece of very pedestrian. This is your fault. The reason why I'm drinking. Shots and cheers in chat, y'all. Shots and cheers. Like, let me show you the full. The full. Like, well, I won't say the full, because the full is in-game branding team made a significant progress across various projects through June, including new navigational signage for Pyro and graffiti for Ruin Station. They also started work on a new location alongside the landing zone team. They did mention Ruin Station there, but there's like a new work alongside, or work on a new location alongside a landing zone team. What is that? That is very cryptic, but I think it's the reason why it's cryptic is, and for those of y'all who kind of, to understand this, is that they want to update us on something that's being done, but they often don't want us to know directly what they're working on, partially because they love people like me who go crazy about these sorts of things, so that they can like easily be like, hey, yeah, people are paying attention. Because it's a nice little marketing boost sort of thing, a nice little mystery to unsolve. But also, they want to tell people that they're doing something, but they can't be specific. It's the reason why they say 7 unannounced ships. They're like, these are ships we're working on. Those are 7 vehicles, which they have not talked about before. That's what they're working on. But they want to tell us that they're still working on something, that kind of thing. So, and in-game branding, we know what they do. We've actually had an ISC about them, which is actually one of my favorite ISCs, because it's a bunch of marketing folks. It's a bunch of brand managers who are just like, let's figure out a cohesive brand for all of these different in-game entities. And so their job is to sort of unify the brand language as well as to make brands, and signage and other things like that to make sense in the universe that they're in. What if the possible landing zone was Ninetales HQ? Ninetales HQ is Grimhex. Couldn't it be like Grimhex in a cave? Sure. But that's not what they mentioned, though. There's no mention of a work along a new location inside acid caves or anything. Right now, you don't see Ninetales there. Yeah, but this is different from branding. There's other mentions of acid caves throughout the whole place, including locations, mentioning because they say like locations actually has mentions of the landing zone team, which says the landing zone team spent part of the month fixing bugs for cargo alongside adding a variety of modules available for Pyro stations. Because the mention wasn't on VFX, it was on the landing zone team and the in-game branding team. There's nothing mentioning VFX It just so happens that the locations is also working on Acidic Cave. They finished that. They closed out the Acidic Cave archetype, so they're done, which is why they're showing off this. This is saying a new location. Not they're starting on it, not finishing it. Aaron Halo could make sense. Yeah. That could be it. That's definitely something we've been missing. And it would be almost like a landing zone. Yeah, I don't know. That definitely that's to me that's a stealth insertion of something. Obviously it's something, but like it's an addition. It's an admission that they're working on something that they can't talk a lot about because it's just the starting aspect of it. And then as they get closer to it being a thing, they'll start talking about it more often. But they don't want to start talking about it, and because a lot of times you can start doing something and then talking with your team members and or start talking with other people who are involved in it, and then you get to the point of discussing. You're like, wait, we need X, Y, or Z done before we can actually get this in. So it could easily be that there's other aspects that come up and they just kind of go, okay, well, we can't really do that, so we'll focus on something else. So they don't want to be talking about specifics of what they're working on if it ends up blowing up and being like, oh, no, it's going to take us another 6 to 9 months to even get to this point. Let's not deal with it. Yeah, it's early days. There's not been a mention of the Aaron Halo gateways at all in monthly reports, as far as I know, in years. Now, with Quantum Boost, it is going to be something they're going to need to add. But this is early days situation. And it doesn't look like we're going to see Quantum Boost in 4.0. Yeah. They said 7 new vehicles. Oop, that's not the right one. 7 unannounced vehicles were worked on too. 4 are approaching white box review stage. 2 are heading towards gray box review. And the last is nearly finished. This is also mentioned with the Polaris being exterior done, interior in gray box. Gray box review, I think, means that they're finishing gray box. And then the Zeus being in final review. There's definitely one thing that's going to come in 3.24, and based off of the hints they've been giving us with that Saber variant that they showed off on a social media post, it's going to be the Saber variant, the one that they had mentioned earlier. With terrain generation as well, could they also say Aaron Halo thick fields? They would have said something like that though. But I could see it. I could see them working on the Aaron Halo gates. For those of you who don't know what the Aaron Halo gates are just completely confused by this. So the Aaron Halo is the ring that exists around between Stanton 2 and Stanton 3, between Crusader and ArcCorp. And fun fact, it's named after Toshi Aaron, who discovered the Stanton system. It could also be named after her brother, Stanton Aaron, who she named the system after. She named it after her brother, Stanton. So, which is a name. I see it here in Texas a lot. Yeah, well, it's an asteroid field in the same way that, like, sci-fi asteroid fields are asteroid fields, but, you can get there currently to mine, and it's just this big ring of asteroids everywhere. Now, in lore, because the Aaron Halo is so thick, I'm sorry, let me do this right. Because the Aaron Halo is so thick, it's difficult to navigate. So you either have to go up and around it, or up or down and kind of go around it, or pick through it. and you have to travel at slower speeds. You can't be traveling at quantum speeds around there. Or you can use more fuel to get above or below it. So they built the Air and Halo stations as checkpoints. So they're places you can get between the inner and outer systems, but there's these giant stations with these huge sort of like barriers. You can think of them as like asteroid tunnels. They're tunnels. They're basically like giant doors that are giant walls that block asteroids from clustering together. They kind of cleared out an area in the orbit, and then you can go there and then travel through the Air and Halo gates to get to your destination. So instead of having to chart around the Halo, you just go to the station and then through the station and then out. And so these stations are basically like, they're mega structures, but they're also going to be space stations. So they're going to have their own unique signage. I would assume that they're going to be very much like the Lagrange points, the barn points, as I like to say. Barn house points. So I did this look through. This is a fun part. This is one of those side tangents we go on. At one point, I call them they're called the Lagrange points. I call them the Lagrange points because they sound like they're Lagrange. So it turns out that the person who is responsible for the Lagrange points names is Joseph Louis Lagrange, who was born Giuseppe Luigi Lagrange, or Giuseppe Ludovico della Lagrange Tournier, also reported as Giuseppe Luigi Lagrange or Lagrangia, an Italian mathematician and physicist and astronomer, later naturalized French, made significant contributions to the field of analysis number theory in both classical and celestial mathematics. Like, what? So his original name was Giuseppe Ludovico Lagrangia, Ludovicio Lagrangia, who was of Italian and French descent. And I looked up the name, Lagrangia. And it literally means someone who lives by a granary. One of the definitions is barn. So Lagrange means barn or adjacent to a grain storage. It effectively means like born in a barn or like person who lives in a barn. And, I want to say, I was looking at his history and there was something about it like, no, I want to ride an alien horse in Star Citizen. But would it be an Italian designed barn at least? In rural living, LaGrange were meeting places, mostly barns. Yeah. So I've called the LaGrange points just barn points. They're named after Joseph Louis LaGrange, but it's like barn points. I'm totally going to refer to them as barns now. Let's go to the barn. Yeah. The L points are just barns. Like Grange Hall, like an Elks Club for farmers. Yeah. Like there's a LaGrange, Texas. We meet at the barn 5 point. Which one? Oh, the crew barn 5 point. You see, in Grange halls in farming communities. Yeah. Yeah, someone's mentioned that earlier. To be fair, he found those null gravity points where he could put space barns to house our space horses. I mean, I just love the fact that his story is insane because he has like 4 different names. Because his great grandfather was a French captain in the cavalry, who's from Tours, and after serving under Louis the 16th, the 14th, yeah, Louis the 14th, his father was in charge of the king's military chest, was a treasurer. Became a mathematician. He was in France, Berlin, Paris. The dude's like family, like life is nuts. Oh, the LaGrange topic again. I love the LaGrange topic. Barns, baby. Barns. All right, I'll be right back. When I come back, we'll do one more recording of the Squadron 42 monthly report, which is, let me summarize the Squadron 42 monthly report. Wrapping stuff up. That's it. It's not going to be much. I would be surprised if I got 10 minutes out of the damn thing. It's so dull. All right, be right back.
I'm just an old-fashioned cowboy.
Weapons free, y'all.
I'm Fly. I'm Pilot.
Distress bacon.
Good news, everyone.
Drugs.
To democracy.
Mission complete. Burrito I eat.
All right.
There you go.
Get here. We're going to do this. Turn that off. Squadron 42 monthly report, baby. Boo, 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 boo. I'm going to kind of quickly glance through it. Yeah, it's very short. Dear Jesus, is it short? All right. Y'all ready for this? Do 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 do. Oh, I forgot to turn on the. All right. All right, chat, you ready? Chat. First Tasty's ready. Bonesaw's ready. All right. We're going to do the similar sort of like casual intro here. All right. Now we're going to move on to our next capsule. Squadron 42 monthly report for June 2024. We're going to look through this entirety of this this report, and I'm going to give you, I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to give you the very short summary of what I'm sure it's going to say. We're wrapping up. We're doing a lot of work on mission 1. We did a lot of work on mission 5 or mission 8. Because that's what it's been for the last 3 months. But let's take a look. AI features. Last month, AI features supported AI Social, wrapping up their tasks for the usable system. The usable system describes how NPCs interact with machinery and other objects in the world. For example, an NPC running a janitor behavior will need to interact with several usables, such as a locker to equip the uniform and cleaning equipment, like a mop and bucket. They will then need to move between spots and clean them, playing a mopping animation as they go. The usable system represents these different objects and has information about how NPCs use them, where they need to play animations to enter and exit the usable, and what custom logic to execute. These systems often work with complex setups designed to implement complicated interactions for NPCs, and in some cases, the player too. Sometimes a small change in one element of functionality can have a large knock-on effect on another use case. So are they just confirming janitor gameplay for Squadron 42? In addition, there are often specific situations that require specialized solutions. For example, usables often have complicated idle animations with specific pose requirements and should transition into an action or an exit animation at specific times. AI tech. June saw AI tech fix several bugs related to NPC using elevators. They also improved the functionality for usables, scooching them between different zones, such as transitioning between outside and inside elevator panels. On the ship AI side, improvements were added to point defense cannons that allow them to track and shoot missiles. They also made updates to allow NPCs to follow leaders in formation by utilizing a PID controller for matching leader speed and adjusting role based on the leader from NPC ship orientation. That was in the Squadron and the Star Citizen monthly report as well. So obviously it's for both, but the team also worked on destructible cover functionality. For each location, they had to determine whether destructible entities were part of the cover surface and register their destructible events. Based on those events, they can regenerate the cover surface or adjust the location's height should that be required. Bug fixing was also done for AI and usable systems. Animation. The animation team continued to work on the look and feel of Zero G, including making it feel smoother and more exciting. They also worked on several player interaction animations, scenes for Chapter 1, and delivered final assets for several chapters. Improvements were done on clothing usage for players and NPCs too. The team are currently progressing with cover hit reactions, cover and stare usage, locomotion blending into usables, and more. Regarding the motion capture, a number of pickups were captured to smooth out various scenes. So there was a interview by the actress who plays Trejo in Squadron 42, who mentioned that she ran into Mark Hamill on a game she recently was working on. Didn't know who he was and embarrassed herself by admitting that she didn't know who Mark Hamill was. And there is only one game that both of them are working on, which is Squadron 42. And that was in a very recently interview. So I think this is a confirmation that they were doing motion capture pickups, probably with Mark Hamill in June. They also captured a few actions needed for one of the main life areas and made improvements to combat reloads. For facial animation, the team continued to burn down chapter work and polish the final face animations for several levels. Gameplay story. The gameplay story team continued a high production rate through June, adding extra audio and facial data to complete the last scene in one of the chapters. They progressed through feedback and polish tasks, which involved improving the head and look in at 5 different scenes, updating 2 start idols and a lighting fix and polishing characters' finger movements. Okay, it's really specific. They also delivered 4 new scenes, beginning with 2 characters walking down a staircase, around a corner, and through a bulkhead door. The second features 6 characters moving from a hangar to a brig via cargo elevator, while the third features 2 individuals asking the player for help. The final scene has 2 characters working together on a unique engineering project. Chapter 12 also received substantial updates. This involved adding a new idol between major parts of one scene, including new mocap to improve navigation across a damaged environment, and using new PCAP to overhaul the introduction of another section. So far, only one mention of Chapter 1, so good so far. A lot of other sort of things. Seems like they've moved beyond Chapter 1. Graphics and VFX programming. Last month, the stability and performance and memory usage of Vulkan continued to improve and is now much closer to being default choice for Squadron 42 in the PU. The team have also been in contact with AMD, NVIDIA, and Intel to diagnose and fix various driver issues. Global Illumination team worked across a variety of areas. For example, they improved Radiance cache resolution, made stability improvements, and optimized various areas with Fidelity FX. They also provided rough specular support, improved motion in-depth complexity handling for screen space light cache, and updated the cascade light grid to allow for a greater range of global illumination. Gas cloud color processing volumes were added to allow the artist to vary appearance of large gas clouds as players traverse them. Support for fire hazards continued, which involved adding directionality to the generalized burn and dirt shader effects for entities. This allows localized burning, such as on one side of a door. Visual improvements were also added to creatures, such as the ability to spawn decals from GPU particles. Narrative. The narrative team is nearly finished with the first pass of all of the Galactopedia entries, and I've been taking a closer look at how the entities are triggered alongside overall player experience. On the text front, the team swept through the various objectives across each level to make sure they provide succinct and clear guidelines and accommodated any character limits. Playthroughs with other teams continued as more of the content captured at the end of last year was implemented. As the levels solidify, slight adjustments were made, which sometimes requires tweaks to the dialogue to accommodate, so scripts have been adjusted to reflect the updated flow. Narrative also worked alongside the audio team to add more ally and enemy voice packs. These are now going through testing and validation. Tech animation. The technical animation team continued to invest on a wide range of tasks, facilitating improvements across both projects. For example, work progressed on the Put On Takeoff initiative, which is close to completion. These animations will soon be integrated into the game and will significantly enhance the realism of character interactions and provide a more engaging player experience. Enhancements were also made to the character customizer, including the successful integration of new heads. This enhancement will offer players more variety in customization options, further enriching personalization. Our ongoing collaboration with SST and cinematics departments remains strong. The focus on ensuring the technical implementation of animations and scene content is of the highest quality, is unwavering. This synergy is crucial in maintaining the seamless integration of animations and ensuring top-tier visual experience for our audience. The achievements of technical animation team this past month are testament to the hard work and dedication. As we move forward, we are confident that we will continue to reach new heights and deliver exceptional content for our players. Technical animation team. VFX. The VFX team supported cinematics with major scenes across the campaign, finalizing particles, explosions, background weapon fire, and timing, and destruction simulations. They're currently working closely with other teams on improving environments, weapons, and vehicles to support the narrative and gameplay. All right. So, only one mention of Chapter 8, but it does seem like what the quick and dirty is they are at the detail stage. So a lot of what they're doing is looking at details of specific missions and seeing if they work right, tweaking things here and there. A lot of the usable systems is sort of like the detailed background characters, some scenes which are probably more transitional scenes between various parts of a mission or optional parts of missions. But it looks like they're doing some more zero-G stuff, tightening up the locomotion and such. A lot of this is just, it's tightening, it's tuning work rather than final work. I'm going to go out on a limb here. They have not mentioned the word beta, but a lot of this stuff sounds like beta stuff. Like stuff you would do in a beta situation rather than in an alpha, or I guess they're done with alpha, but polished stage. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is the first sort of indication that CIG is getting Squadron 42 to its wrap-up portion, where they're just sort of making the final adjustments here and there to make it function, play it, see what it's fun, see what parts need to be improved, that kind of thing. A lot less technical additions and a lot more quality of life improvements, if that makes sense. But I could also be mainlining hopium and copium straight out of the source. But let me know in the comments below what you think about any of this. And if you enjoyed this, we do this every week. We do office hours every week, and every month we read through these monthly reports and do other things as well. I'd love to have you join us on twitch.tv/TheAstroPub, youtube.com/TheAstroPubLive. And if you enjoyed this, hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and hit the bell icon to be notified when it's released. Thank you again for watching, and like I always say, hope to see you someday in the black. No transition for the video? What do you mean? I ended the recording. Well, Mark Hamill's most known movie is several decades old now, so it's definitely understandable that she doesn't know who he is. He's also a little bit older. Yeah, so when I do the actual, what I tend to do with this is I do this like this, and then what I do is I start the recording, I kind of find a good starting point, drop it into the editing timeline, let it go for all of the editing timeline. Every so often I'll cut some stuff out if I need to. And then when I get to the end, I do in the black. And that's why I sit here and I don't say anything for a while, because the sound in the background is still playing, the music is still playing, and that'll play over the outro sequence with like we have the tags and stuff like that at the end of a YouTube video. And then that is added to, and then I send that out. So it's a very plug and play experience for me. At the captain's table, because it's a live broadcast that I sort of create like a video, it's got all the built-in transitions and such.
Distress bacon.
Paul, I've got a little question for you. Shoot it to me, Luff. Yeah, my brain is mush from work and recovery. I feel that, brother. I feel that. There seems to be more systems that are unclaimed or lawless than there are core, like Sol and Terra. Would you say that's accurate? Yes. There's only, well, not necessarily. There's like 20 or 30 systems that are UEE. Out of the 100 systems, it's like 30 systems are UEE, like 4 systems are Banu, 4 systems are Xi'an, and 4 systems are Tavarin, or 4 systems are Vanduul. So yeah, I would actually, that is right. I think most of the systems, most of the systems are unclaimed. They're either like not specifically UEE systems, they're outlaw systems, or they're just empty. How's everyone today? I'm still recovering from my vacation, man. I thought I was doing okay, but no, I'm not doing okay. But yeah, sorry, I keep getting distracted by things. But basically, Lolf, that's the reason why I constantly, I haven't done it recently, but I often will tell people that they don't understand Star Citizen fundamentally when it comes to expansion. When people kind of sit there and go, oh, it took them 12 years to get Stanton out. It's going to take them 12 years to get Pyro out, or, you know, it's going to take them forever to get everything out. The reality is that far more systems in Star Citizen are empty than are full. And that's intentional, because CIG wants the systems which are not specifically settled to be places where emergent gameplay can happen. So you've got the sort of core worlds like Sol, Terra, Ellis, Farron, Croshaw, those places where, you know, it's like 7 or 8 systems which are super well settled, super well regulated. Stanton, like they're high security areas. And then you've got places like Magnus or Castra or Hadrian, which are not super well, they're still part of the UE, but they're not super well defended. They're not super well regulated. They're just kind of there. And then you have places that are neutral, but have people there. So systems like, I can't remember the name of the system, but like there's one where the Tavaran have set up shop in there. There's places like Nyx, those sorts of places. And then you have places that are like hostile to UEE control and are like filled with outlaws. Nyx is sort of hostile, but it's less overt. Places like Pyro, Nexus, Spider. But the vast majority of systems are just places where maybe a handful of settlers live, but nobody else does. Like Banshee. Banshee it has a settlement on it, and I think it's technically part of the UE space, but it's a pulsar. It is a very, very rough place to live, and the only landing zone is literally underground. Nyx, NYX. Yeah, NYX. It's coming after Pyro. But they're going to be systems that are practically just mining, basically. And there's going to be a lot of systems that are going to be places where players can mine, gather resources, build bases, and, you know, do their own little thing. And the thing about those systems is that they can generate those systems right now in like a month. Why they don't add them is because there's not a lot of those systems in the region that Stanton is in. But I have heard rumblings of the idea that CIG might just take the current jump point map and mostly throw it away and go do another jump point map. I doubt that they will. Or build a bunch of systems and then connect them with jump points and then change those jump points as they add in the other system that they want to add in. So like once they have Pyro in, they'll just say like, you know, grab Castra, grab Lear, grab like Null, grab like the one that has quarterdeck on it. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, like little systems here and there, which are easier for them to do, that don't require a ton of effort, that are mostly empty, and then just stick jump points to them where they would, because they like Lear is on the other side of the Empire compared to Stanton, but they can just add a jump point to it. You just call it a day. And then for like 1.0 and post 1.0. I'm like a minute behind in stream. Thanks for answering so well. Where do you think Vega stood before the fall? More core or colony? It was core. Vega didn't fall. Vega's still up. They attacked Vega, but it's always been a core system. It's kind of on the edge of core because it didn't actually have representation until recently. You're talking about Virgil, before Virgil fell. That was core. Virgil was a core planet. It was almost getting representation. That's how core it was. If a planet gets a representative in the Senate, it is a core world. There are plenty of UE systems that have no representatives in the Senate. This is where we need Senator Armin Strong to play his part for a strong Stanton. Gotta work on my Armin Strong voice. It's gotta be gruff. My name is Senator Armin Strong, the once and future senator, the true son of Stanton. Listen here, Jack. I'm surprised we got through that as fast as we did. I mean, it's been 3 hours. I've had some kind of tangents. We did ISC and we did both of the monthly reports. It helps that Squadron 42's monthly report is effectively 5 minutes. Virgil is one of the first systems humanity discovered. It is actually the system that kicked off the Project Farstar. It's one of the very first successes of Project Farstar. In fact, I think it invented Project Farstar. Yeah, that is right. They found Virgil and they realized that because Virgil was on the other side of the eastern section of space, and they believed that there was no way that jump points could form in that direction because of certain cosmological features. But they found a jump point to Virgil through an area that they thought was impossible. And that kicked off Project Farstar. So Project Farstar happened because of the discovery of Virgil. And that was under the UNE. We're talking like 23rd or 25th or 26th century. Like 100 years during the golden age of humanity's exploration and colonization. Like 100 years before the First Tavarn War, 100 years before the discovery of the frickin' Xi'an. Like Virgil is ancient in humanity. Like to give kind of perspective, when Virgil was discovered compared to where we are in the timeline today is like, which I think is like 2430, I think. Let's just say that. That would be like, let's just say it was 2450. It would be the equivalent of the 16th century, like 1524. So it would be like if aliens came to Earth and invaded Cuba. No, but it'd be like losing Cuba to aliens. Or it probably more like it would be like Cuba exploding. Or like Mexico disappearing. What are the ships going to be for 4.0? Not a clue. Probably some vehicles, ground vehicles. It's all new stuff though. Have they posted it? Yeah, the Zeus. I think the Zeus is coming out for 4.0. Yeah, we had Virgil longer than the US has been around. Yeah. So like, that's kind of like to give you the kind of example. Like losing Virgil was a huge deal. It was massive. Because Orion was a newly discovered planet or system, which was mostly like a little bit inhabited, but it wasn't great. It wasn't massive. And the other system, not Bremen, probably the Grinder. Yeah, like the other system that fell after Orion was also like a throwaway handoff. Like yeah, it was bad, but it was a tiny mining outpost basically. But then when they lost Virgil, it's like losing New York. Or not New York, but like losing Richmond, Virginia. Like America lost Richmond, Virginia in a war. Like what the fuck? So what's the breakdown of your Mech-tastic summer? I'm glad you asked that because we're going to start this Friday. This Friday, I'm going to be doing Mech Warrior 5. Start doing Mech Warrior 5, and I'm going to browbeat Loken to join me for Hot Mech Summer for Mech Warrior 5. Yes, tomorrow. I have to play Mech Warrior 5s because I believe it's to get past a certain intro point to get there. You modding it first? Yes, I'm going to talk to Loken about it and see if we can get some with mods. But the idea is to play with other people, to kind of do with other people. I've not played with mods, so I don't know what it's like with mods or anything like that. So probably I'm just going to do yet another stuff. But the MechWarrior 5 Clans isn't a DLC. It's a standalone game. You don't need MechWarrior 5 mercs to get the MechWarrior 5 Clans. I asked around Twitter for recommendations, and most people just said the yet another stuff. Hey, Citizen Dance. And then the next lore video should be coming out on Sunday, which is going to be on the named ships of the UE Navy. And then on Wednesday, if I can swing it, I'm going to have the complete Titanfall history done. And then on not this coming Sunday, but the next Sunday, the Sunday after that, I'll be doing a charity stream playing the Titanfall 2 campaign. So kind of connected with the Titanfall 2 stuff. And then at the end of July, I'm going to do a BattleTech intro. So like if you like BattleTech, or if you're for people who are interested in the Mech Warrior and BattleTech universe, it's kind of like a primer for how, like, what happened, what's the Star League and those sorts of things. It's going to be it's still going to be like 30, 40 minutes, but it's going to be a basic version. So I'm not going to be talking about specific mechs and stuff like that yet. So, but you missed everything, Dance. We've been streaming for 30 hours, and I'm probably going to be wrapping it up here soon. I thought it was going to take me a little bit longer, which is the reason why I started earlier, but I do need to get some sleep because I've not been sleeping properly. So vacation was okay. Yeah. Well, that sounds awesome. Hot Mech Summer. That's the idea of it. And the idea the idea behind Hot Mech Summer is this is the inaugural Hot Mech Summer. But then next summer we will have another Hot Mech Summer where I'll do things like more Mech Warrior, I might do Armored Core 6. I might start doing some other mech stuff as well. So. Hey, what about Star Citizen Christmas in July? Probably not this year. That's not next week, but the week after next. Probably not. If you can play Front Mission, sure. I know there's a couple of like older mech games out there. I want to try to stick with newer stuff, but I might do some older playthroughs. It's like Xenoblade or whatever. I'd have to look up some of the more Japanese oriented mech games. Zone of Enders. Okay, Zone of the Enders. Before I sign off, I'm going to look up Zone of the Enders trailer.
Since the dawn of history, human beings have realized various forms of energy. Civilizations have progressed with them. So where does such energy like Metatron lead our civilization?
I'm liking it. It's very over the top.
Position for landing.
MR 1422, Dingo Egret, unlocked. 20 to touchdown.
That's unusual.
What is?
Indications of Metatron. It's way too shallow.
The Metatron is not very deep.
And it's very strong. It wasn't here last time I came. What the hell is that? An orbital frame.
That's PS2 graphics, baby.
My liver's damaged. Damn Baram.
Baram from Mars? Dingo!
Good morning. Ready for combat? This is Detached Backup Battle Unit, Ada. Do you request control instructions?
But in the last half year, the situation on Mars has changed drastically. Now, Balram's war potential is very strong. The Space Force put up a stubborn resistance, but without a major war, Mars was occupied by Balram in a flash. Alman is already getting ready. Only those two machines can make Alman move or stop.
Judy. So you want this frame, don't you?
Maybe.
Even if you're Baram, that's too rough.
It sure is.
Who's the commander? Is that you, Viola?
That 2000s bullshit mecha design. I love them. Floaty shit everywhere. I might pick this up and play it.
Jehuti is programmed to blow up at the core of Alman. In case of need, Ada will start up the explosion system automatically. It's programmed to do so.
Ada, please answer my question. You're going to Alman, aren't you?
So what if I am?
Do you know Ada intends to self-destruct Jafty on Almar?
Ada, please look after it.
This is a long trailer. 7 minutes? No, I'm done there. That was okay. Someone suggested, so knowledge, I'm doing something called Hot Mech Summer. Because for those of you who don't know, I like Star Citizen, I like space, but part of my love for space and science fiction is a love for mecha as a genre in general for games and movies and television shows and so on and so forth. So whenever there's a mech option in a video game, or I tend to try to gravitate towards it because I like the idea of giant stompy robots. So as a result, I what is it called? Oh yeah. As a result, I've decided that I'm going to do Hot Mech Summer as a regular thing where I play games that are like mecha based. So Son of the Enders was that Solid or no? Yeah, it's interesting. I'm definitely interested in doing it. So one of the things I thought I might do is play with Hot Mech Summer to do kind of either earlier streams during the week because it's during the summer, or do an individual stream that's earlier and then do another one later. Like, I do my Star Citizen streams on Wednesdays. I might do like, instead of starting it at 7, I might start it at like 5 and start it with one game and then move into Star Citizen and stuff like that. What's my favorite Titan in Titanfall? Tone. No, I think it's like the Ronin one that I like the most. Yeah, I tend to Tone used to be my big one, but I think Ronin is the one that I tend to move for. I tend to shift between those two. Work has kicked my ass today, so I'm gonna have to soothe my have the OB to soothe my lunch break. Okay. Filthy Tone main. I'm a Ronin main, but I'm a Ronin. What is it? The Suicide Core. Like my typical playstyle with Ronin is get up in your face, slash you with melee, fire out of you a bunch, slash you with melee. And then when I go critical, like self-destruct and blow everyone up. Pub. Oh, there we go. That's how Ride or Die Legion pilot. You
can take away my spaceship. You can take away my space suit. You can even take away my space lasers.
No PPUs.
But you can never, ever take away my space game.
Citizen Dance just resubscribed for 2 months. 2 months already. Time flies.
Thank you so much for that 2 months there. Citizen Dance, you're very important, Papa. Very impressive, sir. Very impressive. This is your fault. This is your entry. Good night. Shots and cheers in chat, y'all. Shots and cheers. No hot Mech Summer is complete unless you play Steel Battalion. I have a controller for that game at my parents' place in my old bedroom. I don't have that, so I have no idea if I could play that or not. Yeah, I don't think you can play that. Can you still play it? Oh, I didn't even know they had a different one, the Monarch. I don't know if the Monarch's even good. Monarch is busted as fuck. It can heal from heal of alpha execution. Damn. I do want to be clear. I enjoy the multiplayer for Titanfall 2, but my experience, what I really love about Titanfall 2 is its campaign. All of the gameplay is great, but yeah. But like the multiplayer is sort of, for me, has always been sort of a secondary. It's a fun thing to do, but what I'd really love to do is do some get together with players and friends, and do some Frontier Defense, their Horde mode for Titanfall 2, because that's fun. You're being sarcastic. Okay, I didn't know. I know of the controller, and I remembered it was for Xbox. I don't remember if you could even play it on Steam or anything like that. I'm fading pretty fast though, y'all. So I'm gonna call it a night. I will see you tomorrow for some hot Mech Summer with Mech Warrior 5. And I gotta actually beat the game. I gotta you have to get through the intro sequence a little bit. And I'm gonna reach out to Loken to see if we need to install the right mods and stuff like that beforehand so we can get that set up properly. I don't know if you can do mods through multiplayer co-op, but we'll see. But yeah, thank you for hanging out with us. And then on Saturday, we're going to be doing Captain's Table. I don't think I've got a Captain's Table crew yet, so I'm going to kind of reach out and see if I can get people. We'll probably talk a little bit about cargo and that sort of thing, but we'll see. And then Sunday, we're probably gonna do some kind of collective lore stuff with the lore team. I got to talk with the lore crew at some point soon to kind of get an idea of what we're gonna do. But it'll be kind of kind of stuff. You can use mods in Mech 5 multiplayer. But the question is, does everyone have to have the same mods installed for you to do it? Or can one person do it and everyone who's jumping on them, piping off of if they're the host, then it'll work for all of them. It depends on the mods, but usually yes. Usually everyone needs to have the mods. Okay. We're going to keep it simple because I don't think we're going to go crazy with it. But thank you for watching. Love your faces. And like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black.